Welcome to Serious About Rugby League. Today on the agenda we're going to be talking about Sonny Bill Williams, who this week and probably for the past month or two has been linked with Toronto Wolfpack. Now, Sonny Bill's been out of Rugby League for quite a few years now. He's been playing the 15-man code. He's won a World Cup with New Zealand, and he will play again for the All Blacks in the latest Rugby Union World Cup later this year. But after that, let's talk about where he will go, which will probably be his final career move. Now, Toronto owner David Argyle has said this week that he wants to bring superstar names to the club. He said that head coach Brian McDermott and director of rugby Brian Noble will put their heads together and pinpoint a number of big name players he wants to bring to the club, presuming that Toronto get promoted to Super League, that is. Now, it would be quite an amazing move, wouldn't it, Mike, if Sonny Bill was to come over here, but can you realistically see it happening?
I can, because he's known to do those bold moves where he went from Canterbury and then he's gone to Sydney Roosters and he's dotted about, he's gone to Rugby Union. He's won everything he can.
Boxing
as well, yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying different things. He's not done Super League yet, and to get to Toronto in the first year of Super League to possibly keep them up, to keep them up and then to establish them would be great for him. Not so much a big name for their fans because they're just knowing the game and obviously they're a new club, but for the rest of Super League to see that and say, he's a big name.
Yeah, well, I think you say there that he will go there and try and keep them up, but I don't think David Argyle is that sort of guy. I think if he gets Toronto, if Toronto get promoted to Super League, I think he'll be looking at the top five, and the likes of Sonny Bill and all these other big names are constantly linked with, are going to perhaps help them get there. Now, he's 33 years old at the moment, and he has actually been linked with a move back to Canterbury Bulldogs where it all started, back to the Roosters where he last played Rugby League. Now, it's an interesting one really, because is Super League the attraction or is Toronto the attraction for Sonny Bill?
I don't know. You mentioned it earlier, and I think he's at that age where injuries hitting him, and I think a move to Super League would be better for him than going straight into the NRL, because think how many players in the NRL could actually cut it at that age. You've got James Graham, you've got Robbie Farron, you've got Benji Marshall, 3 players who can cut it at the moment in the NRL at that age. And I think if Sonny Bill wants to come over here, he should, because I think that'll be easy on him. And I think, as you mentioned, if the Wolfpack do sign him, it will attract other clubs to the Wolfpack name. And I think that could be the key to getting Super League expanded across the Americas and beyond, perhaps. And I think Australians will look towards the Wolfpack and see a connection with that club.
Yeah.
And I think
Kiwis, you mean?
Yeah. And I think it will be interesting if he does go, and I can see it myself, him going.
Well, is that the big thing for him coming over here? Because it would obviously have to be beneficial for him in terms of money. And he's undoubtedly going to get a big deal to come over here. I think it's been $5 million and some crazy figures thrown about to get him over here, even just for a year. Now, even if it was just for a year, how big could that be for our competition? Because like Ethan says, like fans down under Australia and New Zealand, they're going to be more inclined to tune into Super League if Toronto get there. And not just that Sonny Bill's got followers all around the world, so could this actually be like much bigger for the overall game than just Toronto?
I think it'll be one of those where you see it in football with Messi and Ronaldo fans. It's kind of like with Sonny Bill Williams. He has fans everywhere, like you just said, and if he goes to Toronto, gets to Super League, he becomes a poster boy straight away. He doesn't even have to play that much, and everyone's like, I just want to see him play. In 2005, when I watched him play for Canterbury against Leeds, I went to watch him.
Yeah.
Because he's that much of a big name, and so it's massive for their club, but it's even bigger for the competition.
Yeah.
Even bigger.
It's a bit like when Toronto signed Fui Moi Moi a few years ago. I think everyone saw that as a kind of a big signing, but He's now at Workington, and it shows that it didn't pay off, in my opinion. And I think they tried it before. I think if they do get Sonny Bill Williams, as we've mentioned, I think it will.
I think he's at the right age though as well.
Yeah.
I think 33. He's not too old.
But are these signings for more to grow the brand for David Argyle? Because to me, is he looking at Sonny Bill's ability to take Toronto to the next step, or is it more for the actual, like you say, to be the poster boy, to grow the club, to make them more...
It's a commercial point more than that, to take the team forward. I think it's more of a 1 or 2 year deal, and then he's done his bit. They can bring in players for longer, maybe on less money, 3 or 4 years, and all of a sudden the top 5 are challenging. Whereas you get your Leeds and your Wigans going, they've really hit the ground running, and we're struggling because we've not thought about what we're doing properly. And if he gets them in 1 or 2 years, carries them forward, retires, gets someone else in, and that's how they'll progress there. And it's always about, for them, look how big our club is, not so much about his ability, because I don't even think he'd have to play that many games or for him to do well in Super League.
Yeah, well, that's certainly interesting. Let us know in the comments what sort of impact you think Sonny Bill Williams would have in Super League if Toronto get there, and how big would it be for the Toronto brand. Don't forget to like and subscribe.